I'm here.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. Hey, it's Black Friday today. You can go to theathletic.com/down to dunk and get The Athletic for $1 a month for 12 months. 12 months. That's a long time to get it $1 a month for 12 months. It's a great deal. You should go get it right now. It's going to be gone tomorrow. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, I'm sorry. You can't have it anymore. Hey, also, if you would leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, that would be so nice of you. My bosses are looking at every single one now. And so if you want to do something nice for us, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and people will see it. They are already noticing the nice people, the nice dunkers out there leaving us 5-star reviews. Michele, we're back. We're finally back. I was gone for a week. I was out of town for a week. And in some places I had internet, and some places I didn't have great internet, and it was just it was weird. It was a weird week. It's good to be back. Feels great to be back on the pod and it feeling rather normal. So here we are.
Yeah, I'm no longer mad at you, so we can pod normally. I mean, you left me alone last week.
I did.
But hey, I mean, can we take a second to realize what a week it was? Like, well, it was Thanksgiving, so nice. But also, like the two podcasts, like No Dunks and the Low Pod. I mean, wow.
It was awesome. I was very overwhelmed by it. I feel very blessed, and I got to do that. I did them like both back to back, so it was just. It was just a strange experience, like getting to do both those shows just back to back. Getting to do the No Dunks pod in person with those guys at their studio was so much fun. And then like right after I get done with them, it's like, okay, now I have to set up to talk to Zach Lowe. It's like, what is happening right now? Like, what is this?
Quick question. Do you think that Zach thinks he owes you for real? Like when he said, yeah, I owe you, I will come to your podcast, I owe you.
Talked about it pre and post pod that he's like, yeah, for real, just let me know. And I'm strategically thinking about when I want that to be. So, I think it is going to happen. So, hey, J-Dub is back after missing 3 games. And that's great news because they really missed him against the 76ers. And the more I kind of digested that game, the more I think that was just such a weird game. And still, they didn't like get crushed by them.
Yeah, it was. I watched it live, and it was very ill-advised because it was the longest game ever. And I went to bed at like 2:40 in the morning, so not great, Bob.
Yeah,
but it was a game where I think Degnault immediately pulled the idea of having Chet guarding Embiid for the entire game, which it's the only thing where that and another rotation quirk that I didn't particularly like, but I think it was a little bit too quick because I understand the fact to put a body onto Embiid and the fact that you don't want Chet to be that guy all the time, but it was very, very immediate, and I wonder, like, can you try to do 5 out before that? Like, do you want to at least see what it's like to go full offense and space the core like crazy before you get into the J Will, which, by the way, he played really well. I just was a little bit baffled by the fact that, yeah, I saw that the beginning looked very, very similar to what it happened against Denver, but it was weird. Or maybe it was, yeah, okay, we already prepare for this, but then we just do it immediately.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting for sure. The whole, I mean, the end of the game rotations too were just they're just kind of all over the place. He said that he was just kind of looking and decided that, like, hey, Case and Wallace, this is not your game. Only played like 14 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah. We can do this now. This is fine. People in the chat just want us to address the situation. The NBA is addressing the situation with Giddey. If you guys want an explanation as to what's going on, like we're waiting for the league. No one's ignoring anything. There's nothing to talk about. There's been there's not even been a true allegation. If like you want to talk about true allegations, there's no legal proceeding. This is something created by the internet, and whether it's true or not, the NBA is going to investigate it. And so if you want more of an explanation than that, then like people are making stuff up. If you want us to sit here and make stuff up, that's not what I want to do. That's not what anybody else is going to do. So you can come in the chat and say that we're ignoring something. We're not ignoring it. The league is investigating it. And once we have some concrete evidence or concrete analysis as to what's going on, we're gonna address it. We're gonna talk about it. But there's nothing to talk about except for the league has started an investigation based on essentially the Josh being asked questions and then somebody calling the league and saying, "Hey, are you investigating the situation?" And then the leagues later said yes and sent the information to Shams Charania. So we're all waiting. So waiting just
Can
like
I
you.
can I say something and then you can delete it from everywhere if I go uh, if I'm wrong or weird or whatever. I mean, I'm Italian, so I don't fully probably know or understand all the rules, so I will not discuss them. What I think we can do as a community, a community on the web, is to be very careful with words, with judgment, with assessments. As Andrew mentioned, I mean, there is nothing to assess on for sure. And using words that I read in the chat, like pedophiles or stuff like that, I mean, it may be. It may happen that someone says this is what it is. But until then, those are words that have a very precise meaning for a lot of people, and to use them like in this free way, in this I would say a little bit ill-advised way, just to be the earliest to say it, it's not good. It doesn't help anybody. Again, the facts will be the facts. My perception is that no matter what the facts are, most of the people already decided what their facts are, and
Yeah.
this amounts and accounts for nothing. Accounts for a lot of noise, a lot of fuss, and in the end, when the facts will be presented to us, we will have, I would say, if we have to, an opinion.
Yeah.
But it's early, and again, choosing words and choosing the way in which we discuss stuff, it's, I think, in these moments the most important, because we have to respect the situation, we have to respect the person involved, and since we're on the fence, we should respect Giddy until there is some truth or there is some facts or there is someone who shares the fact with us. So I think that again, it's my way, and it's not like excusing something. I mean, I'm not particularly interested in that. But when I
Yeah.
see these words, this, I mean, people that screams that ask for whatever. I mean, no, we can wait, and we can wait for the truth, because that is extremely important.
Yeah. It's the league is investigating it. It's in the league's hands now. We don't have an answer from the league yet. And when we do, we'll talk about it. But until then, there's nothing to talk about. He's going to play in the game tomorrow against Minnesota. They're not sitting him. The league isn't going to sit him. So there's not a whole lot to talk about here. If he's being suspended or if there are like actions against him, then yeah, we would discuss it. But right now, there's an investigation going on. I mean, we don't know how many investigations are happening right now amongst all 400 plus NBA players. There are way more than anybody knows investigations happening on NBA players right now. We know about the Giddy one, but there are a lot of them happening right now. So we don't discuss all of them. They aren't all known. So like let's just wait. Let's wait, and then we will talk about it whenever the league is done with their investigation. Okay, back to the team. They're 11-5. Michele, I want to run down some numbers for you as we get into this, and just I want you to tell me whether you think that this is too high, as in this going to go down, too low, or just right. Okay. This
Okay,
is
we
our.
can we acknowledge that 11-5 is awesome, great,
Is that too high?
sensational? No, 11-5. I think it's about right. They lost
Yeah.
games. They. I think that it's. I still don't know what's the real strength of schedule that they played. Up to now,
Hmm.
they played two very good teams in Philadelphia and Denver. They
Hmm.
played a team that in Sacramento that was. I mean, they played well, but they didn't
That's a
have their best player.
that's a bad
And
loss. That was
yeah,
like that's like their
yeah.
one like truly bad loss in there. It's a sack game.
But they also lost a game against Golden State that could have gone different ways,
Yeah.
and also the one against the Pelicans. So I think that the record is true to what they have been
Hmm.
um, so
Hmm.
far.
Hmm.
Give it a take.
Yeah. They're second in net rating right now, 8.3.
That to me is high. They had
It's higher than anyone's net rating from last season. So yeah, it's high.
yeah, that's very high. I
Yeah.
think that if you think that they lost a lot against Denver, it's really surprising.
Yeah.
What OKC is to me, and I know that this should be a very simple question without an explanation, but I'll explain anyway. Um, I think that they are very good at demolish teams that are not good enough.
Oh yeah. I mean
So
they just killed San Antonio.
yeah,
Killed San Antonio a couple
kill
weeks ago.
Portland. Um,
Killed Portland. Beat Detroit. Like they've just taken care of business. Like they're playing like just a straight up good team. They didn't have a very good game against Philadelphia, but they were still in it. I mean,
mhm,
they didn't get blown out by Philly. They were just in the game, and they're missing one of their best players. And Isaiah Joe shot terribly in that game, and yet they're still in the game. And that's a mark of like a good team, is that
yeah,
you're just in the game. And you didn't play particularly well, and the Sixers did play well. They played really well. Embiid was amazing.
yeah. I hit
That
a
was one
lot
of
of mid
Embiid's
ranges.
best games. Yeah, that was one of Embiid's best games of the whole season, right there. And he was very focused. And you're going to get that from more and more players. Is that players are going to be very focused on trying to beat Oklahoma City. I think we're going to see that in Minnesota. I think
That
Edwards, Browns, and Gobert are going to be very focused on beating Oklahoma City.
if you want to encapsulate how the rest of the league feels about the Thunder, look at the game against the Sixers last year in December and look at
Mm-hmm.
this one and look
Mm-hmm.
at how Joel Embiid plays. And you have your answer. Like teams are facing OKC right now with, hey, we really need to play tonight. Last year it was, yeah, we'll see. Oh, they're hot. Well, maybe we can. Oh no, okay, who cares? Um, so I think that this is the point of the first 16 games of the season. Teams really care about playing the Thunder and really play hard from the get going against OKC, which wasn't the case last year.
Yeah, yeah, totally. The Thunder 7th in defense, 109.6 is their current defensive rating. If I were to say, I would say that's just about right. Like they are a good defensive team when they're
Yeah,
locked in. They have good perimeter defenders. They have Chet, who is not a perfect defender, but a very good defender. And they get effort from almost everybody. And if you don't give effort, you're just not going to play. Like you're
yeah,
just flat out aren't going to play, or you're going to play very few minutes. And so they've really constructed a roster that is one very versatile defensively, but also just the competitors are just relentless. And that to me is probably the biggest thing. Yeah, I think that this might even be too low. Like they may end up in the top 5 as far as defensive teams go by season's end.
if I remember correctly, and I didn't watch the stats over the past 2 games, I think that they still have a little bit of 3-point luck, which is slowly regressing, but still, opponents are shooting not a good percentage against them. So that I think will make the total number going a little bit up in terms
Mm,
of defensive rating. But in terms of position, if you ask me if I want to bet that they will be a top 10 defensive team, I would say yes today.
yeah.
I think that top five depends on how OKC plays in terms of rotations and also how Chet improves in terms of the things that he's not doing well defensively
Mm.
as of today, and also a few others. What really warms me when I look at the Thunder is how Shea plays defensively.
Oh yeah.
Um, he doesn't get the toughest assignment because you can't ask him to do so in the regular season.
And also, you have Dort and Kaysen. Like, you don't need him to, and also J-Dub. Like, you just don't need him to.
Yeah, but he had a few moments of Maxi that was the best. Maxi was defended by the entire night.
Yeah.
Dor didn't have a good game against Maxi. I think that the lack of length and the quickness of the lack of length of Dort and the quickness of Maxi put him
Mm.
in real difficulty. Maxi is a great player, and he had the two baskets that I think decided the game. Shea was different on him, and so this is the part where even if they are not a top 5 defense, when Shea can get maybe more possessions, a more quality possession in there coming in the eventual maybe postseason, this team
Mhm.
will be very, 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 very good defensively. So I think that the upside is there.
Yeah. Yeah. Shea's a 2A defender. And I put out, like, his hustle stats are crazy. I need to update them. But like, he's toward the top of the league in like contests. He's toward the top of the league in like loose balls recovered. He's toward the top of the league in deflections. He's toward the top of the league in steals. He is like every like hustle stat. Like, he's checking all those boxes as a guy who's knows how to use the length that he's been given and is giving effort. Like, these are all just like effort stats. Like, do you care? Like,
Yeah.
what is your care factor? And he's showing up in all these stats where it's like, yes, he cares. And that is a huge deal. Because I mean, Shea's a 2A star that should be getting some recognition as a defender.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it
it's
is.
very, very exciting to see.
And also a part of the defensive record that we need to the defensive rating that we need to discuss is that
Yeah.
part of it is like bleeding rebounds all over the place, which
Mhm.
is something that I expect to improve. Maybe not dramatically, but there are a lot of rebounds where you can see just Giddy and Chet just staring at the ball.
Oh my gosh. Well,
The-
it's funny. And this is a stat that I had for later, but I can go ahead and say it. So that they're second in box outs per game.
Yeah.
Second in box outs. You know what they are in defensive rebound percentage?
Second to last.
30th. Last.
Mhm.
They're doing a good job of putting a body on somebody, and then they're all just watching and they're looking around like, where's Russell Westbrook? You know? Like, they just need somebody to just be a magnet to the ball. That's one thing that Russ was so good at. That is, he's maybe the best of all time. Honestly.
Yes. There was also one thing that Russ hated to do, and that is strictly correlated with what you're discussing, which is guarding the corner when he was there.
Oh,
And so
totally.
I think that there is.
There are mistakes around what he was doing, but he was so good at just finding the ball and just lasering himself to the ball. Like,
Yeah.
he was just great at it. And there's nobody on this Thunder team that's truly great at that. That is just like, hey, I'm gonna go get the ball. Like, I box out, move people around for me because I'm gonna go get it. There's nobody like that. There's nobody like that on this team.
Yeah, and I think that the Sixers game, I think that helped me understanding that maybe it is Chet at the fourth thing with the right center for
With a stretch
time
center.
to time. Yeah, it may work.
Yeah, he played well. They played well together.
J. Will played very well.
J. Will was awesome. He had 5 assists. All 5 assists went to Chet in the game.
Yeah.
It was very, very interesting to watch. And then they'll play more together. That we'll probably see it against Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that will happen. So I mean, it's very fun. It's cool to see Chet just thriving in nearly every situation that he's been put in, outside of like 2 possessions against Andre Drummond in game 1. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and also, I mean, back to the loss against Philly. I mean, I almost didn't care about the result? I mean, I obviously care because the more you win, the likeliest is that you are in the postseason, and we all want to see the Thunder playing a playoff game, a real playoff game. But
Mm-hmm.
what Chet was doing, and what Chet has been doing, almost make me just okay. It's awesome. Like, this guy is insane in terms of talent.
Yep.
And yeah, it may be that this year, for the fact that he can get a lot of rebounds, or he's not perfect, or the team is not ready, they will not win 48, 49 games, and they will maybe win 44. But the future, I mean, this guy had a 30-point game against two of the best teams. Well, Golden State was not in that game, but they were playing super hard to win, and he had an amazing game. And against Embiid, it's not easy. It's not easy as a center to take 11 threes and make 5. Like,
It was great.
and that dunk, I mean,
Yeah, the dunk was
wow.
awesome. Yeah. I will say it is easy to get 11 threes off against Embiid because he just doesn't ever leave the paint.
But you need to have the guts to take them.
He's got the guts, man. If he's got anything, that's what Chet's got. And that's the thing that makes me feel like,
and you have to make enough, because I mean,
he's a shooter. He's like a legit shooter, and he's somebody that is going to be one of the best 10 players in the league. Like, I believe that. From what I've seen so far, I've seen him play 16 games, Michele.
Yeah.
16 games. And they haven't even like made him necessarily a go-to guy. Like, we haven't
they're not featuring Chet.
We haven't scratched the surface of what Chet Holmgren can be in this league. And I truly believe that at the apex of what this can be, and there are a lot of factors that are going to lead this for that to happen or for it not to happen. But I believe that the Thunder have currently the potential to have 2 top 10 players on their team right now, in Shea and Chet. And if you have 2 top 10 players on your team, you are a title contender. I believe that they have the chance to move toward that. Will it happen? I don't know. There's a lot of factors at play that will allow them to achieve that or not. But what Chet has done so far has been just phenomenal. And it's cool that he can play the 4. I still think that Chet at the 5 is what's going to completely unlock this whole thing.
Sure.
And if you can
I completely agree.
And if you can continue to develop the guys you got, figure out what you need, they're going to have all the ammunition to go get what they want. All of it. They're going to be able to figure it out because they're going to have more picks than they know what to do with. Heck, they could find somebody in this next draft. I know this draft kind of stinks, but they could find somebody in this next draft with the picks that they have that could fill that role. I mean, it's not impossible that happens, or in the draft after that. And then you have another guy on a rookie scale that's cheap, as you have to start paying these guys and to figure it out. It's just the position that the Thunder are in is unique and has the potential to be for them to have a better run than they did before. And they're going to need some luck, and they're going to need these guys to lock in. They're going to need a lot of sacrifice, but this team is in an outrageous spot right now. And a lot of it is just like Shea is a top 8 player, top 5 player, whatever you want to call him.
8? Up 8? What is that? 8?
I'm just glad you're getting upset with me.
Yeah, of course I am. Like, OKC 11-5, and he is just everywhere. We just discussed that he is probably the best two-way guard in the league, if you account for how good he is on offense and how good he is on defense. No, top 5 is fine. Top 5 is fine.
Top 5. And then Chet, who is already showing up statistically as one of the better players in the league, he's played 16 games. He's played 16 games. And he's already won them a game in Golden State. Mind you, that's a tough place to play.
Yeah.
That's a really tough place to play. And against Steph Curry, and they were on a major slide. I thought, boy, if they can just split there, where Curry isn't playing the first game, fine. Curry plays in the second one, Thunder lose it, whatever. They won both.
Yeah.
They won both. And Chrismo in the chat, doesn't SGA lead all guards in stocks in the NBA? Yes, he does. He leads the league currently in steals and blocks among guards. That includes, mind you, players like Asar Thompson, Scotty Barnes, Drew Holiday, Marcus Smart, Jalen Suggs, Donovan Mitchell, Dyson Daniels, all those dudes. He has more
By the
than all
way,
those guys.
do you feel better about Suggs now? A little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. He's good.
Okay, they are
Suggs is
playing
good.
so well.
Yeah, they're great. They finally started to figure out how to play 48 minutes of basketball, where they were just playing first halves and then falling completely apart in the second half. So that's cool.
I'm not sure how I should trust my instinct draft-wise after Cole Anthony is probably turning into a top 30 player in the league, top 50. That is mind-boggling to me, but he is
jumping a
awesome.
gun on top 30, but he's played well.
Yeah,
but come on, man.
Top 60.
Yeah, maybe top
80.
Top
that
87,
is still
top 87 player in the league. So it's better than what we both thought he would be. Yeah, he's played well. He's played really physical. Is something that Cole has done. I was watching last night. Like he like getting in the paint, and guys are just hammering him, and he's still making shots. Like he's become a really good player. He deserves.
Also in terms of like shot creation, like for others.
Go get a bucket. He can go get a bucket. He can go help find guys. He's been very important to what they've done. Very, very important to how that they've executed for sure. Okay, the Thunder are 6th in offense, 117.9. That is the highest offensive rating in Thunder history, by the way. Which is not a surprise. Like the offensive efficiencies right now are through the roof for everybody. But it is kind of cool that this is the best offense by the numbers in Thunder history. So kind of cool. But yeah, top 7. They're 7th in defense, 6th in offense right now. 2nd in net rating. They're in a good spot. I think the offense, they're a little bit over their skis, mostly because they're 2nd in effective field goal percentage at 57%.
Mm-hmm.
They're 1st in 3-point percentage in the NBA right now at 40.5%. Those numbers are those won't stay. Like they're not going to be the best 3-point shooting team in the league. However, they are 1st in free throw percentage at 85.8%. I think they are the best free throw shooting team in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that is true.
It's really hard to say that they are not true to that number because on one hand you have the 3-point percentage, which I think it's probably 2.5 points higher than where they will land. I think that they will land between 37.5 and 38.5 for the year, which if you account for, I don't know, 10 threes per game made, it's probably half a point or something like that. I can't do the math right now in my head. But you also have the lack of free throws. I mean, and it's not that those are 3 points that I think OKC is not getting. And
they're
if you
13th free throw attempts per game, which is low.
I think it's low. So I think that they will lose half a point, maybe a point in offensive rating. A point seems too much, but they will get a little bit from the free throw line. And so I think that they will probably cancel. And so I think that they can be a top 10 offense. I think that they play like a top 10 offense. Especially when you have a guy like J-Dub on the court, which whenever nothing is working, he can get you a bucket when Shea is off the court. And boy, oh boy, they missed that. They missed that, and they missed the physicality defensively against. I mean, they could have turned on Maxey defensively, and instead it was probably just Dort and a little bit of Kazan.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to discuss just the individual 3-point shooters and if they're too high, too low, or just right. We'll be right back. And we're back after that quick break. Michele, let's talk through each Thunder player who's taken, let's say, maybe we can go through like the top 10 and 3-point percentage, or top 10 and 3-point attempts, and then talk about their percentages as we go through. Number 1 in 3-point attempts, no surprise here. Isaiah Joe has almost taken 100 threes in 16 games, which is amazing, by the way, that he's been able to do that. He's shooting 48.5% from 3, too high, too low, or just right.
Too high. I think he will land around 41, 42.
Yeah. Lugens Dort is taking
Too
60
high. Sorry.
threes. 42.6% from three for our boy Lou Dort.
Yeah, that is between 7 and 10 points percentage better than what I expect him to be.
Yeah. Maybe 5 for me. I'm a Dort believer. But yeah.
Do you think he will land at 37?
I think it's possible. He's taking the thing that's different is that he's actually taking good 3-pointers. It's the quality of shot that he's taking is a bit better. So he rarely is taking a contested three. Rarely.
Really?
So it happens, but it's rare. It's not happening. Okay. Next one. Chet Holmgren has taken 64 threes. He's made 28 of them, putting him at 43.8% from three. Too high, too low, just right.
I think that is just right.
Yeah, he's a really good shooter.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's getting high quality shots too. And when teams actually start truly closing out in like a way that is like, please don't let Chet shoot threes, the amount of offense that's going to open up from that is going to be beautiful. So
Yeah.
it's very, very good for the Thunder that he has shown up and is like a legit shooter.
Yeah, I think that just right maybe is a little bit too high. I think that he will finish above 40 if I have to bet.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has taken 55 threes. He's made 20 for a 36.4 percentage. Too high, too low, just right.
Just right. I think that Shea is a 35, 37% three-point shooter. He's getting better shots. He's putting a few step back shots.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the percentage is right where it should be. He was never like the 40% shooter that he was like in the bubble after bubble season. I think he's not like a below 35% shooter. If you give him enough space to get off a couple of catch and shoot shots per game. And so I think that 36, 37, 35 and a half, that is where he's supposed to be.
Yeah. I think it is just about right too. I think it's so important for him to have it as a weapon, and he's using it more as a weapon this year, as he is with like his mid range. Like he is outrageous from mid range, and so I think that it's really important that Shai's taking more threes because it's going to open up a lot more for the rest of the team, and the fact that he's making enough where he's like a dangerous 3-level scorer. I mean, that's also what makes him a top 5 player in the league. Is like he is dangerous from everywhere right now.
Yeah.
And 36% for a guy that you have to just have yourself glued to the whole time is enough. Like that's what like Luka makes.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to guard Luka everywhere as a 3-level scorer. So
yeah, and people are already guarding Shai. It's not that they are sagging up and pick and rolls. They are not like cheating on him. So
it's true.
That's true. They know that when he's set, the percentage is higher than that.
Mm-hmm. And in the last 10 games, he is shooting 41.7%.
Yeah.
From three. So it's gotten a little bit better. He started a little cold, as did this player, J Dub, has taken 38 threes in 13 games. He's shooting 36.8% on the season, and over the last 10 games, he's shooting 42% from three. So that has ticked up quite a bit. He started pretty cold, as did Shai, but 36.8, is that too high, too low, or just right for Dub?
I think that Dub has the chance to be a bit better than that. Better than 36. I would say around 38. I'm miffed a little bit about the amount of shots. I would like that to be like 4.5 to 5 per game instead of 3 point something.
2.9.
Yeah. 2.9?
2.9 per game.
No, that's very low. I mean, he has to.
He needs to be at 4.
4 or 5. I mean, yeah.
The only player, I mean, the highest is Isaiah Joe's taken 6 per game. Dort is at 4. Chet is at 4. Those are the 3 highest per game.
Yeah.
I agree. The volume is not where it needs to be. Like the team itself needs to just take more threes, and like they're 22nd in 3-point attempts per game.
Yeah, which is another part that may allow them to be a little bit better offensively. Because I think that there are moments where you can have 1, 2, 3 more threes per game instead of a few mid-rangers or like bad drives.
Yeah, definitely. Josh Giddey is 9 of 30 at 30%. Too high, too low, just right.
Just right.
Yeah. I think it's probably a little bit too low. I think that he's a better shooter than that. And he's 81% from the free throw line. Not that he's taking a ton, but like he's hitting his free throws. Like his shooting is improving. I think he's going to be better than 30%. But maybe like 33, maybe 34 as like is where he ends up. And he hadn't taken very many. He's taken basically 2 a game at this point, a little 2 a game. So we'll see. Cason Wallace is taking 26 threes. He's 14 of 26 for 53.8%. It's obviously too high.
Yeah.
He is also clearly a shooter that needs to take more. Cason Wallace, you need to take more threes. You are a very good shooter. You are a very good player. I mean, right now, he's 60, 53, 100 shooting splits. Take more shots. Don't be afraid to take shots. I saw him hesitate at the beginning of that Sixers game, and it was just like, what is going on here? Like he had just a three that was wide open, generated by the offense. He should have taken that shot,
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's definitely too high. I think that he's another 37 to 36 to 40% kind of shooter. He's very diligent in what kind of shots he takes, maybe to his own detriment sometimes. Because what I was saying before about Chet is that Chet is not afraid of taking 11 shots. Nor is Isaiah Joe, no matter how many he misses. Cason may not be that this year, but in the future, he has to be that guy because no matter how we think about it today, but there will be discussions and it will be difficult to keep a guy like Isaiah Joe on the court. And if Kazan can be that volume scorer, maybe not with the same off-ball movement or the same gravity, but if he's a guy that refuses an open three, then he will never be a guy that defenses are going to hunt for or sorry to account for. He has to take like more threes, maybe not 4 or 5 this year, but with the minutes going up, he needs to be the guy who, hey, if that guy is semi-open, he will take the three, which is exactly what Chet and what Joe are doing.
Yeah, Isaiah Joe is so important to this team.
Yeah,
he's so important to what they do. When you look at like the best like 2-man pairings, it's Shea and Joe, not really very close.
Yeah,
they've really learned to work off one another. Their 2-man game, like their 2-man like screen game, is outrageous. I mean, they've really figured out some stuff between the two of them. And like he's one. I know we worry about like the core 4 guys and keeping them, but Isaiah Joe, I feel like you kind of have to figure out a way to keep him too. And what is he gonna make, $20 million? Like he's gonna make a lot of money.
But this is also why I was so obsessed with a guy like Hawkins in this draft, because I can see a way to get another Isaiah Joe kind of guy, maybe with a little bit more upside, or maybe with the same upside, and you just put him in the system, and in 2 years you have a player that can.
So tiny. It's like the only problem. Like you just need somebody.
It's not tiny. It's skinny. It's not tiny.
Oh, he's tiny.
It's taller than Isaiah Joe.
He just doesn't play like it though.
There's
something special about Isaiah Joe, man. There really is. Like he's good. Like he is good. He knows how to play, and he knows how to play with this team. And he defends. He competes. He can play a little bit more physical than you think he could. Maybe Hawkins will develop that down the road. But Hawkins is just I love his on offense. I love Jordan Hawkins because he can find he'll go find 15 threes in a game. Like no sweat.
Yeah.
Defensively though, like there are some big time struggles. Like there's a long way to go for Jordan Hawkins.
Sure.
And that's why I
But
would worry about him with this particular team. Is like,
I completely agree and support. The point that I have though is that that offense is enough to keep him on the court. I mean, it's it's not like the Bertans thing. I think that Dawkins is not that bad. Bertans is just so
very,
slow.
very few are that bad. It was
Yeah,
you could feel the tension on the Thunder bench with these Bertans minutes.
yeah,
Like I was sitting there just watching. Part of me was watching the team, but then like the other part of me is watching the Thunder bench, just like seeing the reaction from the coaching staff as they are just like, is it what's going to happen here? I think I know what's going to happen. Like this is going to be very good. What are we going to do here? And there were a couple times where Bertans got blown by. Oh my gosh!
yeah.
People in the preseason, they're like, "Oh, you got to play Bertans. Such a great shooter. He is a good shooter, but boy, there's a reason why he didn't play much in Dallas." And
Yeah,
like you could see it pretty clearly against the 76ers. It was an interesting team to play him against too. Like, I'm gonna get more Bertans time against the Blazers or something. Like, what's going? Like, what are we doing here?
that's
Playing him
yeah.
against a really good team. I thought that was really kind of fascinating.
I think that also the lineups that they put him into were difficult lineups for Bertans to try. If you have a lineup with Dub, maybe Dort or Kazan, you have Shea and you have Chet, and you put Bertans
Yeah,
instead of Isaiah Joe, it can work. It can work if you need just a little bit of size and you need like a few minutes where Joe is maybe not having it or Joe is not available. Then you can have a lineup like that. With
yeah,
Giddy and Kenny, I mean, I love Kenny, but it's a tall task
yeah,
for him. If you have Chet, I mean, you can just drop whatever and try to just be conservative. You can try to play some zone, which is something that OKC is not doing. But with Bertans, you may try to do that, not against the Sixers because they are like a very good shooting team. And so if you zone them out, then I don't know. But again, my fascinations with shooters is mostly because Isaiah Joe is great, and I think that is replicable. That is something that Muscala had, and Muscala was not the shooter nor the defender that Isaiah Joe is. So you just need to find pieces that can do a couple of things on the court, are like a spacer, or just they know how to play make on offense, and they need to shoot. It's not super easy, but there are stuff in the draft that you can get, like a guy like Kispert, for example. You can. I'm sure that you can play Kispert on this team, and he will be very good
yeah.
because of the gravity, because of the shooting. Will he be great on defense? No. Can you sustain him for 10 minutes? Probably.
Mm-hmm. The rest of the guys haven't taken all that many threes. Stop me if you want to talk about any of them. Usman Jang, 26%. Jay Will, 26%.
That is going up.
Yeah, that one will go up. Wiggs, 35%, feels about right. Micic, 35.7%. That feels like it'll
That's
go up.
about right.
That's about right. You don't think he's any better?
Not this year.
Yeah. Lindy Waters, 46%, only on 13 shots, though. Bertans, 3 of 12. It's pretty bad, only 25%. I mean, he's a much better shooter than that. Kenrich is 7 for 11, 63%. That'll go down, safe to say. And then Treyman, Poku, and Sar, they're there.
Yeah, I think that there are some numbers that will go down, namely Kazan and Lou, and they were integral part of many wins.
Such a hater.
Come on, that will happen. Don't. I mean, I'm not discussing the busted layups, so I'm already on top of my hate. And by the way, I tweeted about this, and I was thinking about one mistake by Lou and the other one by Giddy, and I think that there was a third one by another player, and everyone assumed that I was subtweeting Lou Dort. No, I said that OKC missed a lot of bunnies. Like Dort missed 2, Giddy missed 2 or 3, and I think that also Wiggs or also Kazan missed some really bad looks. And my point was, hey, we are very close. Not, hey, Lou, we lost us the game. But this is how I'm perceived right now. So, and I'm completely deserving. So I'm not going to complain. I am the Dort hater, and so I can
Hey,
Also saying
he's
this.
taken on a much lesser role, and he's in about the right kind of space right now for Lou. I feel like he's been great.
Yeah, no. Against the Sixers, I think the defense was not good enough. Maxi torched him, which is
But
fine. Can
he
happen.
didn't. I mean, he didn't play. He didn't play all that much either.
Yeah.
Didn't play all that much. He has the second lowest usage rate of his entire career.
Yeah.
So good on you, Lou. Good job, Lou. Okay, let's take a look at what else I've got on my stat sheet. They're first in contested shots per game. So that's good. Some of that's pace. They're like 10th in pace, I think. So they play a pretty fast game, but they can test a lot of shots. And then obviously like the rebounding problems is like the one like real bad thing right now. I mean, they're second in net rating. They're like almost all like tons of their stats are just really good. But 27th in rebound percentage, 28th in offensive rebound percentage, and 30th in defensive rebound percentage. We talked about it a little bit earlier that they've just have got to go get the basketball, and they're never going to be a top half of the league rebounding team, but they can certainly be better than what they have.
This is a spot where Josh can really improve.
He's got to, right? Like this is like part of his thing is like he's one of the better rebounding guards in the NBA.
He was. This year is not. And I think that a lot of the rebounds that are there can be taken. One thing that is happening is that a lot of the rebounds that OKC allows are very, very difficult rebounds, like long rebounds. There are many of them, which is something that I don't know why that happens. I think that there are some explanations about where and how OKC defends team and so where they take shots. But I see like a lot of rebounds that are long, and OKC is terrible at them. And I don't know if that is a byproduct of hey, we are rotating like crazy, and so whenever the shots go up, I mean we are in a weird spot, and we are beat to the spot a lot because we are doing other things like maybe someone is running the fast break, maybe someone is boxing out. I don't know. So this is something that I would really like to analyze a little bit more in the coming games to see what kind of rebounds. I mean, I know that you and Alex did a pod basically on that, so you know more than me on that on that end. But I think that there are stuff that you can do without needing like a rebounding maniac to help you out.
Definitely. I mean, a lot of this is just going to be on the current roster to figure it out, and for the coaching staff to figure it out. It's not necessarily like I would say that part of it is personnel based for sure, and there's some intentionality behind it because I mean, what are you going to say? They're top 10 in both offense and defense. You know, you're not going to be the best at everything. What they need to do is like just not be the absolute worst. And I think that they have it within this current roster to not be that. So I think that you can only be pleased with this team thus far. I mean, 11-5 is a ridiculous record at this point. Now, they have some challenges upcoming. They have Minnesota tomorrow night. They have the Lakers at home on Thursday. And then Saturday in Dallas, which is like those are not easy games. And then they move into the in-season tournament, which they're not going to participate in. They've been eliminated, but they are going to have other games that'll be rescheduled during that time too. So there's going to be other games on the schedule within there of other teams that have been eliminated from the knockout rounds of the in-season tournament. So that will be very interesting. And then Utah at home on the 11th of December, Sacramento in Sacramento on Thursday. It's a tough place to play. High-powered offense. The Thunder just have to be better, and you kind of hope that they have strong memories of their first time playing there year because they need to play better. At Denver, and Denver has not been awesome as of late, but are going to get Jamal Murray back soon. And then we'll wrap up the schedule before Christmas. They have Memphis at home, which is one of the saddest teams in the league right now. The Clippers at home on Thursday, the 21st. The Lakers again on the 23rd, and that's all before Christmas. So some challenging teams, some teams that they definitely need to beat. Like they need to beat Utah. They need to beat Memphis. And then the rest are like, I mean, Minnesota, LA, Dallas, SAC, Denver, Clippers, Lakers. Like those are all toss-ups. Like I think we will have a very clear picture as to who the Thunder are by Christmas.
Yeah.
Like who are they truly? And I think honestly, I already feel like I have a pretty good picture of who they are. Even if they lost a big chunk of those, like I would still feel very confident about them being a good team and like a team that's going to get to the playoffs and that is we're going to learn a lot about. And so this is a stretch that the league is just tough, like just flat out this league is tough night to night. But yeah, I think by Christmas we're going to know who this team is, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting, and I think that even if this team is going to be maybe, I don't know, maybe not with a great record by Christmas, I think they will be like steadily above 50%
Yeah,
in the record.
I think it's fair, a fair expectation.
Yeah, and those are toss-ups, but OKC already won some toss-ups.
I mean,
They won
twice.
back-to-back games. I mean, they won twice against Cleveland. Is Cleveland a great team? No, but they play tough. They beat Atlanta.
You
They
know,
beat Phoenix.
Yeah.
Was not great. They didn't have Book, but they won that game. And again, against Philly on a night where like Embiid took a gazillion free throw shots and he played an amazing game. He lost by 4 on without one of your best players, your third best player, which is not nothing. Same way if you excuse Phoenix because they didn't have Book, you can take a little bit out of the loss against Philly because of that, and also they lost against the Warriors because Shea was not there. So there are stuff that you can point out that happened that you can say, well, maybe they could have had like a little bit better of a record. So I think that the like playing tough teams right now is what these teams need. They need to learn how to win tough. They had already a few games where they did. It's great that they faced these 3 teams over the next week. I think that if they go 1-2, that will be very good. If they go 0-3, a little bit bad. If they somehow win more than 50% of those games, this team is going to be insanely fun for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Maybe anyway.
Yeah. Thanks so much for listening to our show. Please go to theathletic.com/down to dunk and get the Athletic for $1 a month for 12 months. You can only do that the next few hours. If you guys are watching live on YouTube, and we have a lot of people doing that, please hit the like button right now. That would be very helpful. And be sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. If you are listening to this on the podcast side, it would mean a lot to us if you would subscribe. And then again, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. My bosses are watching, so please give us 5 stars and say nice things. That would mean a lot to us. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and we'll talk to you guys again on Wednesday.